Tokusou Sentai Dekaranger! What's up everyone, I am the Kaiju no Kami, and today I'm going to be taking a look at 2004's Tokusou Sentai Dekaranger. And I've got something cool to show you, courtesy of subscriber Tokustar. He had got me a Japan World Heroes, this Deakranger picture, autographed by Bond's actor Ryuji Saine, and it is pretty awesome. Now, the interesting thing is, he autographed over the entire picture. So even though it's a picture of all 6 Dekarangers, he autographed across the entire thing. So if I ever meet any Dekaranger actors, I won't be able to have them autograph over their characters. Well, Sen I can get him to autograph, but yeah, everyone else will either have to like autograph in the mountains area, or I just have to get another photo of them individually. Kind of a bummer, but still awesome nonetheless. Thank you so much, Tokustar. You are a rock star. While Abaranger was in development, series writer Narahisa Arakawa came up with the idea of making Abaranger's successor series, Tokusou Sentai Dekaranger, a tribute to both Shozo Uehara and the Metal Heroes franchise. This in turn meant Deakranger was going to be about a team of space police stationed on Earth that would also feature a couple of parallels to the Space Sheriff trilogy, such as having the show's narrator, Dragon Ball and One Piece voice actor Toshio Furukawa, explain how the Dekarangers transform in a similar fashion as to how Gavin and his partners would too.
コールを受けたデカベースから形状記憶宇宙金属デカメタルが微粒子状に分解され送信され、そして彼らの体の表面で定着しデカスーツとなるのだ。
Of course, Toei apparently really wanted to get their money's worth out of Furukawa, as they have him narrate what the hero's abilities are every freaking time they use them, even in the final episode.
少年の残留思念から行き先を探ろうと必死だった。だがエスパー能力の使用はエネルギーを急激に消耗させる。ジャスミンの体力は限界に近づいていた。
Thank you, Captain Obvious. I am so glad you were there to explain to me what I had just watched on screen, in case I didn't understand what I had just watched on screen. Anyway, Dekaranger would go on to be a huge success, to the point that nearly 15 years later we are still getting new Dekaranger adventures, one which even saw them teamed up with the aforementioned Space Sheriff Gavin. Hell, they even dubbed its Power Rangers counterpart in Japanese using the Dekaranger cast, which has to make you wonder, is Dekaranger truly worthy of all this hype? Or should this one have just been locked away? Let's take a look at the show's heroes to find out. The heroes! Unlike the real world, Dekaranger shows what cops are supposed to be like. Our main set of heroes include Akaza Banban, who goes by the nickname of Ban, Hoji Tamasu, Senichi Inari, or Sen, Marika Raymond, who, like Ban, prefers the name Jasmine, and Kome Kodo, who also likes to be called Umeko. Aside from Sanae, the others are played by Tsuyoshi Hayashi, Yosuke Ito, Ayumi Kinoshita, and Mika Kikuchi. What's interesting is that our female duo would go on to do voice acting roles, as Kinoshita voiced Aki Yazayoi in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, while Kikuchi played Arika in the Sunrise anime My Otome, and Mokina in both Clamp series Tsubasa and Triple X Holic. The first 2 members of our Ranger team to be recruited to the Special Police Dekaranger, or SPD, before the show's start were Hoji and Jasmine. Jasmine was a lonely introvert who has special powers that allow her to read the minds of anyone she touches, or an object that individual has touched, which is what the people of this world deem as an Esper. Sadly, Espers in this world don't have demon forms like in Final Fantasy VI. She was nearly killed by a murdering alien until she was rescued by the head of the Earth Branch, an alien humanoid dog named Doggy Kruger. As for Hoji, outside of meeting his sister in one episode and learning that he is a top-notch sniper, we don't see much about his history. The duo were joined up with the Lion Man, Gyoku Ro, who was the top candidate to become Deca Red, when they were attacked by another murderous extraterrestrial. This encounter led Gyoku being injured beyond recovery, leaving both Hoji and Jasmine to feel responsible for his early retirement. Naturally, this event taught Hoji and Jasmine to be more level-headed and reserved when it came to encounters of the third kind, which is why they are often the ones who rarely ever lose their cool in battle. Jasmine is my favorite Deca Ranger, as she can outwit any foe, as seen here. Even Umiko knows Jasmine is the best, to the point that in one episode she even tried to be her.
Umiko はエスパーではない。だから触れても何もわからないのだ。
Sen was also a potential candidate of Dekaranger just after Jasmine and Hoji were recruited, as he was originally paired up with Gyoku before his injury. He is the intelligent, sometimes lazy member of the team who will often have to do a headstand when assessing a situation in order to procure a solution. For example, there is one instance where an alien has possessed the body of one of his cohorts, so he comes up with a very clever plan to resolve their little dilemma.
この薬を飲むと激しいくしゃみが出る。病院に乗り移られてる人間はくしゃみが出ないんだ。 病院が乗り移ってるのはバンだね。
And as I said, he likes to be lazy, so sometimes he might just tape fake eyes to his head to make it look like he's paying attention.
今回のことで俺見直したぜ。いきなり車投げるなんて俺より大胆だもん。これからもよろしくな。あれ？
Like with Hoji and Jasmine, he will often stay calm during battle to ensure a swift victory. Sen is the 7th child of a poor family and will often show disdain for the rich who belittle his upbringings.
ふわな香りがすると思ったら僕のパパは青函評議会の議長でね、宇宙警察を動かして君たちをクビにすることぐらい簡単なんだよ。
Furthermore, when he was a child, he fell down a well, and the officer that rescued him is what inspired him to become a policeman. Though, the event does keep him afraid of small, dark places.
暗くて狭い場所が苦手になった。いや。
Next up is Umiko, who is the energetic and extremely short member of the team. She loves to use her enthusiastic views to overcome any situation, though some may not take her seriously because of this. Umiko loves to spend her free time taking baths with her trio of rubber ducks. Megatron would be so proud. Yes. She also loves to proclaim herself as the leader of the team, even though no one else has agreed to that declaration. Umiko is prone to temper tantrums when things do not go her way, or she finds out someone was lying to her.
王室の未来を考えていかなくてどうするのよ。あなたもよ。いくら仕込み思案で強く言えない性格だからっていつも黙って言うこと聞いてちゃダメ。最初は嘘でした。儀式をやりたくなくて押し付けたのです。ごめんなさい。なんだそんなことか。ってロギー。
Moreover, she is the one responsible for taming the Dekarangers' robot dog, who transforms into their cannon to finish off a monster.
Bobby!
One of my favorite moments with Umiko is when she has to get drunk in order to combat a criminal. The final member to join the Dekarangers is Ban. Ban is the first outrageously hot-headed Red Ranger that really annoyed me the first time I watched the show, especially since the dude nearly got fired in the premiere for being reckless. This time around, he didn't bother me as much after the first few episodes of the show, but I am not a fan of Doggy Kruger practically telling him it is okay for him to do whatever he wants.
あくまでお前の信念を貫けばいい。
当然っすよ。
He does mellow out a bit over the course of the series, however, he does still have his moments of impulsiveness. I did like this moment here when one lady argued with him on being deemed a criminal.
って何？泥棒のことだよ！泥棒？万引きしかしないっつうの！万引きは窃盗なんだ！立派な犯罪なんだよ！
Bond desires to be the greatest cop in the universe, which is rooted in a promise he made to a young lost boy he rescued once. I do have to say that I really like the Deca suit designs for our main 5. The numbered themes on each of their suits is really striking, and it keeps a nice balance between the white, black, and members' respective color. The helmets are also very memorable, as I love how the windows above the visor are divided up depending on what number each ranger is. Their weapons are pretty basic by Sentai standards, with Bond utilizing 2 guns that can combine into one, while the others have guns and batons. Each ranger also also gets their own SPD badge, which acts as their transformation device, a communicator, and is connected to a special court system situated in the middle of the universe that decides if an alien the Rangers are facing is innocent or up for execution. Now, this is an interesting idea, especially since we learn in one of the movies later on that due to the gravity where the court is located, they're debating the criminal's fate for 8 months before making a decision, despite it only being several seconds to everyone else.
この星周辺の時間の流れはシオン・モールス現象により通常の200万分の1であるジャッジメントタイムの10秒はおよそ8ヶ月にあたる。その間に審理が行われ重罪の者にはデリートも許可されるのだ。
However, the problem comes down to there only being 2 options, which, as I said, is either the alien is innocent of the crime altogether, or the alien is to be executed with extreme prejudice. There is no third option in which the culprit is guilty, and he or she is to be taken into custody. This has caused a massive debate among viewers for years, as many believe, being the Rangers are cops, they should not be the ones to execute a monster. I agree, yet I get the decision making behind this given that Time Ranger was only a few years prior to Dekaranger, and that had the Rangers arresting the monsters instead of executing them. There was even one episode that revolved around that concept when Time Fire thought the other Rangers were always killing the monsters.
あいつを殺させるわけにはいかない。何言ってる。お前たちだって今まで散々殺してるじゃないか。あのロンダーズの化け物ども。そうじゃない。あれはアシュクレイとして逮捕しているだけだ。逮捕だと。命を奪わずに逮捕する。それが俺たちの戦い方だ。
Nevertheless, it does seem weird to let the show's heroes be the monsters' executioners, even if those are the rules. It also brings the question why they even have prisons to begin with. After all, if every criminal we see in the show is executed, even when their attempts are botched, why have prisons? If someone has killed 800 people, been imprisoned, escaped to Earth, got beat by the Deakrangers after killing one more person, why is suddenly 801 the breaking point for an instant execution when it was clearly fine at 800? I just don't follow the logic here. Or was it decided at some point that an alien who attempted a crime on Earth would be up for execution? There just seems to be some sort of piece missing in regards as to what is grounds for execution and what isn't. The only monster to ever receive a decision of innocence is the one suspect who didn't actually do anything wrong at all.
スペシャルポリスの要請により遥か銀河の彼方にある宇宙最高裁判所から判決が下される。
嘘！デリート不許可。なんで？
Well, whatever. I need to move on. Dekaranger 6 Ranger is an orphan who became a member of the elite police squad known as Vice by the name of Ira Tekkan, or Tetsu for short, played by Tomokazu Yoshida. His parents were accidentally killed by an alien who could travel through any reflective surface. Any reflective surface? Oops. My bad. Sorry, Tetsu. This in turn led to the SPD adopting him and training him to be one of their most skilled officers who also loves the catchphrase nonsense when he disagrees with a situation or statement.
Nonsense.
Thanks to being a member of Vice, his only weapon is a device on his wrist known as a brace throttle. The brace throttle allows him to transform and utilize a variety of power-ups in battle, given that Vice are trained for close quarters combat. Tetsu starts off like your typical brooding 6th Ranger who quickly learns what teamwork is and looks up to his cohorts as trainers rather than lackeys. He also comes equipped with his own single-wheeled bike, and I do like how his suit utilizes 6 in Roman numeral form as opposed to numeric like the other Rangers do. It adds a nice change to the mix. Not to mention that it does look like a V and an I for Vice. We do come to learn in one episode that his broodiness spawned from Vice's commander, who views emotions in battle as a failing point.
デッカン、ゆうべのあれはなんだ？なぜ特協のお前がただの救助活動を行っている？あんな奴らと馴染んでどうする？任務中は感情を出すなと教えただろう。
気持ちが不可能を可能にすることがあるって学びました。
そんなものは劣等生の論理だ。
This other bitch is known as Dekabright.
There we go. That's the word I hate. Bitch! I show a little authority, I stress my will a little bit, and I'm a bitch.
No, that's not at all what it... You know what? I'm not even going to argue this aspect.
As I already talked about earlier, the commander of the Dekarangers is Doggy Kruger, voiced by Tetsu Inada. Inada has been a prominent voice actor since the 90s in series like Dragon Ball GT, One Piece, Inuyasha, Gankutsu, and Fate Grand Order. Not to mention all of the Toku monsters he has performed, specifically Shuten and Gaoranger. Doggy is from a planet known as Anubis, and he has been given the nickname of Hell's Watchdog. Kruger is a highly trained swordsman who also has his own ranger form in the guise of Dekamaster. You know the situation is serious if Dekamaster comes knocking at your door. Unfortunately, his ability to transform is not always a blessing, as upon learning about this, Bon and the others start to take light of situations, expecting Doggy to always back them up, which came to bite them in the ass once Doggy realized this.
ボスが来てくれりゃスカッと解決だったのに。
本当にそう思うか？
当然じゃないですか。大体部下のピンチに上司が知らん顔って。
It was a neat idea that was brilliantly executed.
ボスなんか大嫌いだみんな俺たちだけでやっつけるぞ
In addition to Doggy, there is Shiratori Swan, their chief scientist and inventor.
マーフィー、K9。普通の警察犬なら不可能なレベルの追跡も可能よ。
すごいじゃないですか。
すごいんだけどね。
Mako Ishino portrays this alien woman who is also the creator of the Dekarangers mecha. It's also shown throughout the series that she and Doggy have feelings for each other, though neither one of them is willing to share that fact aloud.
Because Japan.
Additionally, she too has her own Deka suit, which allows her to transform into Deka Swan.
真白き癒しのエトワーク
Unlike with Doggy, she can only transform once a year. Lastly, our main quintet of Dekarangers do receive an upgrade in the second half of the show, known as SWAT mode.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
It's a simple gimmick, but one that is most welcome considering how complex upgrade forms would go on to become as time progressed. I do have to say that I like SWAT mode a lot, especially the communications gear that gets added to their helmets and the oversized guns. SWAT mode also comes equipped with its own badass theme song. The villains!
Unlike with every other Sentai show in existence, Deakranger doesn't actually feature any main villainous group. It's all basically a Monsters of the Week show, kind of like Ultraman is, and that's it. It's kind of annoying, but kind of refreshing at the same time.
The monsters of the week are known as Alienizers, which is a term used by the SPD to acknowledge a criminal. Back when Deakranger first aired, I was not a fan of this concept at all, as I prefer to have a set of villains I can grow attached to and love to watch fight. Now, while I still would have preferred a reoccurring group of villains, it is a nice change of pace. I definitely have to give the show credit for trying something new, even if I don't fully agree with it. However, this makes it hard to have much to talk about given most Alienizers are dead by the end of their episode, unless it is a multi-parter. In fact, my favorite Alienizers are those that were in multiple episodes, which includes a monster who travels through digital space, the one I mentioned earlier that killed Tetsu's parents, and my top favorite, the Hell Sibling Trio.
Oh shit. There goes the planet.
The Hell Sibling Trio are just a badass group of siblings, especially the oldest brother Blitz, who makes his first appearance kicking Ranger ass while chewing bubblegum.
Okay, he doesn't actually chew bubblegum, but he does have his own rocking theme.
この星の恐怖を食らいに来た。およーん。ねえ、
兄貴遅かったじゃないさ。
おめえを探してたら変な奴らに捕まってな。
The only villain who does show up repeatedly throughout the show is an arms dealer profiteer named Agent Abarella. Abarella comes to Earth to profit off of its destruction as he has done to countless other planets, only for his income to be tarnished by the SPD's victories. He provides his clients with a variety of weapons that suit the plot of the day, an army of robot grunts known as mechanoids, and, if necessary, giant robot mechs, as not every alienizer can grow big. The best thing about Abarella is that he is voiced by the amazingly talented Ryusei Nakao, who some of you may know as this really tiny, unknown Dragon Ball villain by the name of Frieza. You might also recognize Nakao's voice work as he sang the song Honey in Denjimon.
Honey, honey, Itoshi no honey.
I really don't have an opinion on Abarella as I didn't dislike him, but he never really made an impression on me.
脱獄の手助け、アーナロイドの料金がまだのようだな。焦るな。まずは感謝の意を表させてくれ。感謝は言葉じゃなくて金でするもの。
I do like that there are 3 types of mechanoids, so it does keep watching the grunts of Deakranger interesting as some are more powerful than others. The mecha!
Coming off of Gaoranger, Hurricaneger, and Abaranger, I am surprised to say that Dekaranger kept its mecha pretty low-key.
The main mech for the 5 main rangers is a bunch of police vehicles that merge together to form Dekaranger Robo. The design of Dekaranger Robo is very distinct as he looks like a RoboCop, and I do like how agile he is. I just wish they didn't repetitiously use the same CGI footage over to showcase this, as it hasn't aged well and gets boring. A short while into the series, we come to learn that the SPD base, Deca Base, can transform into a humanoid form under the name of Deca Base Robo.
Here's your next challenge. Blast
I have to say that I tend to love the oversized mechs like King Pyramider and O-Ranger and Grand Liner and Go-Go 5, and this is no exception. Deca Base Robo is all kinds of cool. Not to mention he has missiles in hands, Dragon Caesar style. After that, Tetsu brings in his own machine that alters between a police bike and robot. Deca Bike Robo is its name. In addition to just being a regular robot, Dekaranger Robo can ride on it when it is in bike mode, and the two can combine to form an even more powerful machine.
Super Dekaranger Robo はバーニャ噴射によって瞬時に超高速度で移動することが可能になるのだ。
Lastly, the introduction of swap mode also means a whole new set of machines for the Rangers to use, which join together, creating Deca Wing Robo. Deca Wing Robo has the ability to fly, which also allows the Rangers to fly an Alienizer into space when they finish it off by transforming the big bots into a gun, blasting the officious offender to hell. The effects and music!
Like with Abaranger, the music of Dekaranger is stellar. Unlike with Abaranger, most of the effects hold up better than that show did. Not perfect, but better. Much, much better.
That's not to say Dekaranger doesn't have its own moments of atrocious looking CGI, as it does, as I previously mentioned when dealing with the mecha. Yet, unlike with what Toei did with Abaranger, they didn't go overboard on the CGI. It seems to be centralized here only when necessary.
Well, except for those annoying CGI sparks. Ugh.
The green screen effects are also pretty bad, and the mouth movement for Doggy Kruger sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It's a little bit distracting in the beginning, but then you kinda just grow used to it over time and don't even notice it.
気になるんだ。このところの不可思議犯罪は今までとは何かが違う。そうだ。デカとしての勘でな。何千万もの人生を消してきたお前に言う資格はない。今度こそこの手でお前に引導を渡してやる。
The fight choreography is quite good despite not living up to series prior. I have no complaints in regards to the camera work either. Anyone who has watched Time Ranger should be familiar with Koichiro Kamiyama, and he continues to prove his musical ingenuity here. The show is just full of blissful compositions that keep you engaged with what is occurring on screen at all times, while keeping your energy filled to the max when the action occurs. It's also interesting to hear noir-like jazzy tones intermixed into the sonatas.
過ぎたことは忘れて前向きにいかない？相棒。勝手に相棒にすんな。
やめろって。問題はここからだ。
Add on top an immersive opening theme, an engaging ending theme, and you have musical harmony. The opening theme is sung by Psycho Lover, while Isao Sasaki sings the main ending theme I just played. There is a second ending theme that is attached to most of the episodes that revolve around Jasmine and Umiko, titled Girls in Trouble, also sung by our lead heroines. It's a pretty catching tune as well, though inferior to Midnight Dekaranger. The episodes! Being that there are no reoccurring villains to Deakranger, there is no huge overarching plot to be had, and yet I didn't mind this as much. Perhaps it is due to my recent interest in the Ultraman franchise, as I found Deakranger to be more like Ultraman than that of a Sentai series. Or it could just be that I have grown tired of the Sentai formula, that it was nice to see something different done. No matter the case, the fact of the matter is that I highly enjoyed Deakranger to the point that there was only one episode I found myself despising, which was the clip show episode Accidental Present. However, it wasn't due to the clip show aspect that annoyed me. Basically, the Dekarangers receive a present from an unknown sender, and Bon opens the package up before they inspect it.
お届け物です。
お歳暮か？俺に？
宇宙郵便か？宛名は？
いただき！
書いてなかったよ。Wait! 開ける前に中身の確認を。
あ、開けちゃった。
They try to figure out who it is aimed at, only to learn that some monster Tetsu ignored when he was dressed up as a woman to sneak inside of a fight club, grew a crush on him and wants to marry him.
俺は男だ。そうだ。あん時も今も女装してただけだ。勘違いだ。俺は男なんだ。
男？それはなんだ
？All I could do was sit there and cringe, and this was pretty much the last 8 minutes of the episode.
雌雄同体のため性別にはこだわらず全方位の恋愛が可能。その情熱は滝をも登り岩をも砕くだって。
来年も頼むぞデカレンジャー。戦え特捜戦隊デカレンジャー。よい私は。
You have to feel sorry for Tetsu because not only does he have to deal with this nonsense, but earlier on in the episode he gets gut punched by both Umiko and Jasmine.
梅子さんは子供と動物にを持てますからね。
岩ってどういうこと？
常に傷を持つ親父ばかりですね。
茶化さないで。
He is not having a good day.
At first, I thought there was going to be a competition for my favorite episode, as there were a ton of great episodes, such as the one where Umiko got drunk and we saw Ban, Hoji, and Sen nearly cooked into gyoza.
Gyoza.
To the Hell Sibling Trio 3-parter and the Fight Club one I just talked about. But then I watched Hard Boiled License. Oh my god. Where do I start with this one? First off, it begins with a series of murders occurring where young women are having their insides sucked dry. In the meantime, Hoji is meeting with an alien woman at a bar he has a crush on, while the woman's brother seems to dislike Hoji. It turns out the woman is sick and her brother says he will do whatever it takes to cure her. While you can pretty much guess how things go from there, it is the execution of this episode that makes it stand out among its brethren. There is no mech battle, there is no big battle with the 6 Rangers fighting the mechanoids and the killer. The only time we see the entire team transformed is during one chase sequence halfway through the episode. There's no big battle at the end either. It's just Hoji saving a bunch of girls from the Alienizer. And it's raining no less. If you put this episode in a black and white and added some crooked shadows, it would be the most film noirish film noir episode of Sentai.
ホージさんはどう？試験の調子。
もちろんパーフェクトで最終段階さ。次の事件を本部の決めた条件の中で解決すればいい。どんな事件が起きるかわからないけど、俺は絶対合格する自信がある。
Truly a unique episode that finds its name being on the list of one of the best Super Sentai episodes ever. The movies! Oh god, there's a lot of movies.
Yep. As the title implies, there are several Dekaranger movies to cover.
To start, we have the theatrical summer film. A quartet of alienizers named Winsky, Vodka, Gin, and Brando come to Earth to turn the planet to stone and sell it off.
ウイルスで機械奴隷にした上で、そいつらにワクチンを高値で売りつける。素敵な商売だぜ。
Bon ends up flirting with Yuri from GMK, who reveals herself to be Deca Gold.
Which lasts like all of 3 seconds and appears to be nothing more than CGI rather than an actual suit.
And they learn of the villain's plan. An auxiliary mech appears, and yet, despite the movie taking place after episode 23, this machine is never mentioned in the series.
This 4th of July weekend, prepare to get annihilated as Bass Pro Shops and Walmart proudly present Mega Monster Truck Route. Sunday! This 4th of July weekend, be here!
In fact, this entire event is never brought up in the series, making it a movie that is not required viewing. However, I think it is worth watching because Volca is played by Kaku Ranger's Kenichi Endo, while Akiko Amamatsuri from Liveman and Deakranger is Gin. My only complaint in regards to this movie is how Toei wasted their talents as they are barely seen in human form. The annual Versus film pits the Dekarangers against the Abarangers because of course they need to fight each other over stupid reasons at the start. What I don't get is how the Abarangers have no idea who the Dekarangers are when the Dekarangers have established themselves as being a part of the Earth for, well, decades. Anyway, the movie just doesn't work because the over-the-top silly side of Abaranger clashes against the most serious nature of Dekranger. That's not to say there aren't funny scenes, as this moment is quite hilarious.
Abaranger! 何それわかんないけど脳内をループ
Hey, could be worse, could be honey.
Honey, honey, 愛しいの honey.
No, I'm not sorry. Hey, speaking of Nikao, Look what Abarella is using for reference material in this movie.
トリノイドはふざけたやつも結構いるらしいのが不安だな。こいつもダメだった。こいつもダメだし、こいつもますます不安になってきた。
I have that same book. That's so cool.
I just don't think any of the comedy gels well together.
脱いでもらえます？はあ？やめたらあかんぜや！こんな攻撃ありなの？とりあえずサキュバスも当惑。
With that said, the villains want to bring Desmo Paramecia back, only to get Abare Killer instead.
リーダーとしては気になるの。
お前がリーダーか。かわいいじゃん。
本当ですか
Oh, and Telefetsadile is now the owner of the curry shop, which has expanded into a huge skyscraper.
What?
社長、お見えになりました。お待ちかねの。
待ってたよ。ランヌちゃん。
In 2014 came a movie titled 10 Years After, which, as the title states, takes place 10 years after the show's end. I do have to say that this movie portrays Dekaranger like McDonald's.
It went from happy childhood to depressed adult.
地球所前所長だったドギー・クルーガーが宇宙マフィアキルリアンファミリーに捜査情報を横流しし莫大な利益を受け取った。
そして取引現場を目撃した一般人1名を殺害。
You're so dark! Do you say you're not from the DC universe?
Thankfully, the last 20 minutes of the film pay off for it, regardless of it being one predictable plot after another. Oh, and I did like this tidbit from the narrator after Jasmine informed her teammates about what occurred.
それはいいが、私のセリフが一つ減った気がする。
As if bringing the cast back for a reunion wasn't enough, we have a team-up movie with Gavin and a prequel to that called Girls in Trouble. Yep, it's named after the second ending theme. In Girls in Trouble, Jasmine and Umiko wake up to find themselves in a prison and get killed repeatedly. Stuff occurs, they team up with Shinken Shelly from the recent Gavin movie, and Scheider's new partner, and solve a crime together. Half of the film is just wasted watching them live, die, repeat, while the other half is more predictable than the 10 Years After movie. The real meat is the actual movie where the Dekarangers team up with the new Gavin, though I still do not care for Geki one bit. Even Bon and Umiko call him out for his nonsense.
Just think about that for a sec. Bon and Umiko are saying he's being irresponsible. Bon and Umiko.
何あの強引な態度。感じ悪すぎない。
シェリーの敵だ。
落ち着け。
悲しい姿だな。
Anyway, it turns out an evil church has been formed and Mad Gallant from just beyond his back wanting to resurrect his father Satan Gorth. We do get a couple of cool fight scenes, especially from a monster who can turn his hand into a gun named Cronin of the planet Berg.
That is some wicked camera work.
Overall, I think both Girls in Trouble and Gavin vs. Dekaranger should have been about 25 minutes shorter, as they would have worked a lot better. Still, I expected much worse, and while I still don't like Geki one bit, we did get this great line from his commander.
あいつを俺の昔の仲間たちと組ませてみてください。
秋葉レンジャーだっけ？
ええ。痛さは強さ。って違いますよ。何やらすんですか。
At the end of it all, I highly enjoyed Deakranger this time around, and I kind of wish I had given it an honorable mention in my top 11 Sentai list. I didn't, so whatever. It's far from perfect, as the villains are kind of meh. Bond can get very annoying at times, but overall, it is a highly entertaining ride. As such, I am going to give Deakranger a solid 4 out of 5 grown-ups in spandex. It's an oddball series I'm very glad I gave it a second chance to through this review. If you've never seen Dekaranger before, you have definitely got to check it out, as it is a really solid show overall. If you're like me, you didn't care for it the first time, I would say give it a second chance yourself, because you might actually find yourself enjoying it this time around. You might think, wow, that didn't work for me before, but you know what? I totally enjoyed that this time. It could happen. Whatever the case may be, until next time, bye.
Neko! なんだその頭は！
だって